Well, welcome everybody to the ABC Trainerize Collective Special. My name is Nathan Farish, and I've been a coach for the last 10 years and with Trainerize for the last 2 years as a studio expert. So I'm really excited to share some of the knowledge that I've gained from other coaches that I've spoken to around how they're going online. But of course, I'm not here to talk to you guys. I'm here with Reuben. We're going to be highlighting how to build a strong and vibrant fitness community. And with community being the backbone of strong brands, especially in fitness, we thought it'd be really helpful to share how to translate your innate people skills to the online world. Because it's easy enough to build a community in person, but where people crave human interaction and bonds are more easily formed, it's really hard to make that same connection when we go online. So what we thought is we would bring Reuben Brooks, the host, or rather the owner of the Fit Boss Blueprint, as an expert. Reuben has this program for personal trainers and fitness coaches that want to take their business online and scale their business to six figures within 6 months or less. So I'm actually really curious to how this goes as an online coach myself. Well, today we're going to explore the topic of building a strong and engaged online community that drives new business, gives people a great experience, and ultimately helps to drive new revenue rather. So Reuben, welcome. Thank you for joining us. So excited to have you. Before we jump in, why don't you give the audience a little bit of context? What's your background? What's your story?
Nathan, what's up, man? I'm really excited for our conversation today. I've been using Trainerize for such a long time with my personal business, so I'm excited to get on the podcast and talk with you all a little bit today. A little bit of my background. Graduated from Valdosta State University with a degree in exercise science. From there, I had my first internship at Verizon Wireless at their corporate office. So I also did corporate fitness as well, which is pretty cool. After that, I actually went into pharmaceutical sales. So I got some experience in real sales outside of fitness as well. And our company decided to turn towards more pain medicine. So that was my indication to get out of that and go the entrepreneurship route with my fitness journey and business in general. So, yeah.
Super interesting, man. Yeah, I can relate. I was in tech sales, B2B at Indeed, actually, and did some corporate
Nice.
fitness there as well. So you,
Very
you
cool.
really realize quickly once you're in the corporate world how limited health is, or rather the access to fitness and just the ability to get out of the desk and
Yeah.
take care of your body. So that's really
It's
interesting.
eye-opening. It's eye-opening, right?
Truly, yeah. So, I mean, we could take this any number of ways, but maybe you can start with 1,000-foot view of what community means to you and then kick us off that way.
Yeah, sure. Well, if I had to give one word to community, it would mean connection, right? And that's the ability for people to connect with you and for you to connect with other people. So community is important because your business is a community and it starts with a connection.
Yeah, absolutely. So, if I'm understanding correctly, we want to build connection. We want to be able to translate what we're doing in person as coaches, right? Which is building that trust and connection so that people will work with you. As it pertains to PT businesses, how do you build, or rather, what makes a strong and engaged fitness community?
I think it's a lot of different factors, but I think accountability overall creates a strong and vibrant fitness community in general. For instance, if anyone's using Trainerize, which everyone should be using Trainerize, there's this really cool group feature where if you put your clients inside of a group, right, and somebody does a workout, it'll notify the rest of the group that that person just did a workout, right? And what that means is that I want you to imagine that if you're on the couch right now and you're eating a bag of potato chips and you just got a notification that somebody else in the same program that you just paid for just got finished with the workout and just did a personal best. That will bring awareness to you and that will motivate you to take action to get some work in, right? So I think accountability overall within the community creates a stronger community. And seeing other people take action allows people who maybe are behind the scenes to show up just a little bit more to participate.
First of all, how'd you know I was eating potato chips on
Very
my
smart
couch?
man. Very smart man.
More of the sweets for me, but but you're
Nothing
right,
wrong
man.
with
It's
chips. Just
you
saying,
know,
just eating something off the meal plan, right? Eating something off the meal plan, right?
yeah,
If you saw somebody else in the group just got a personal best or just hit their macros for the day, that
yeah,
means that, man, I might eat one less potato chip. And that's all that matters.
yeah. It's funny you say that because my roommate literally just had this happen with her iWatch. I know Apple has a bit of like a challenge feature, right? So
Hmm.
she's got a group of girls that are trying to get back into working out. And
Hmm.
anytime one of them completes a workout, she sees it and she goes, damn, I better go work out right now.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
that's exactly what we've gone for with the group features, being able to see everybody in the community. And sure, if you have a strong, engaged community, they're going to be texting each other, high-fiving each other, making it kind of like a Facebook group. But within the place that they're actually working out,
That's the biggest part because you don't have to lead the platform.
right? Now, we didn't pay Ruben to say this for the record. This is just off the cuff where we're coming from. But as
It's
far
common
as,
sense. It's logic. It's logic.
yeah,
It's common sense.
exactly, man. So I'm curious, how did you start your community? Where did that begin?
For me, the community started from myself in general because at the beginning, I didn't have a big audience, right? I didn't have a community. So that stemmed from me myself trying to make a connection with people on a one-to-one basis, right? And how can people make a connection with you? Well, it's usually the kind of vibe that you put out. And it's also your communication from your content, but it's also nonverbal communication. So I would say I got started just by interacting with people, talking with people, allowing people to see my vibe, being social on social media, etc. So that's how my community started. People connected with me, I connected with them, and then it grew from there.
So would you say you're a believer in like commenting on everything, talking to people, DMs? Like, what does that look like with social media for you? How do you engage with people and start to build that trust?
Yeah, well, I view social media like a storefront. Okay.
Mm,
And especially if you are a personal trainer that owns a business and you're treating your Instagram as a business, your Instagram page or whatever platform you use, that's your storefront. Now, when somebody comes into my store, I welcome them in,
mm,
plain and simple. That's how I become social on social media. I want you to imagine if you went to Louis Vuitton and no one greeted you, right? How long are you going to hang out in that store for? You're probably going to go to the next store so that you can feel welcomed in, right? So
mm.
with my business and my store, I greet everyone that comes by my store or that even window shops. What I mean by that is, are they just watching a few of my stories? Did I just get a few likes but no one followed, right? Doesn't matter, right? They came to me. So I'll
Mm,
welcome them in. I'll say, hey, what's up? How's it going?
mm.
Right? And that's the connection piece and the human piece that a lot of people miss, right? A lot of people also, a lot of coaches and trainers and marketers, they try to outsource that piece, but you don't need to do that just yet until you learn how to do it. You learn how to put the right vibe out there because
Mm,
ultimately your vibe will attract your tribe.
right. So you're saying you would actually reach out to them and just engage, say, hey, what's up? Like, thanks for
Yeah.
checking it out. Give them that
Yeah.
personal touch. Yeah.
Hey, thank you for the follow. Right.
Hmm.
Hey, I saw that you checked out my stories. Curious, what led you to my page? Right.
Hmm.
Anything like, hey, thanks for the likes. I appreciate that. Just something to acknowledge the person because that person interacted with you first.
Hmm.
Right. So if that person interacted with you and you didn't do anything back, then that's a little egoic, just a little
Mm,
bit, right? Especially if you're running a business,
mm,
you don't deserve those likes, right? So why don't you just respond back to that person,
mm.
right? Interact. That could be a sale. And people, a lot of coaches leave money on the table because they're not interacting and they're not responding and they're not being social
Right.
and
Yeah.
welcoming people into their store.
Yeah. Well, that's it, man. Like, I think when we're in person, I'm sure you've done in-person coaching as well. Like, it's very easy because they're coming to you and you're expecting that there's going to be this level of trust built, right? And it just kind of happens naturally because you see them and you get to know them. But when you're in the online space, you really have to make that extra effort to acknowledge them, see them, and start to build that road. And
And do you know
eventually,
why?
do I know why?
Yeah.
We have to go extra work, you mean?
Hmm.
Well, because there's that disconnect. If you're online, you're not able to see like this right now. We're having a conversation. I can see your facial interactions. I can see the way you act with me, and I can kind of gauge what kind of person you are, right? But
Yeah.
online, there's none of that. It's hard to tell.
I would say yes. And I will also say, and there's hundreds of thousands of other people that look just like you or better than you
Mm,
doing the exact same thing. Right.
right.
and they're not reaching out to the people who come into their store. So
Mhm.
this is easy opportunity, easy money cleanup for anybody who does that one extra step.
Got it.
That's it.
Okay, cool. So it sounds like we're starting with building connection and trust. So then from there, would you say that building a community should be the first step, or should online trainers, should they already have a stable business model in place? Like what comes first?
It depends on where you're at, right? Because some people may already be influencers, right? And they already have a community to a degree, right? Some people could just be getting started and not have a community. So it really just depends. Now, if I were just starting, I think a wise decision would be to learn how to do business first before building a community. The reason for that is because then you'll have a sound plan and a
Mhm.
strategy for everything else, right?
Mhm.
When I first got started, I didn't understand business, so I just grew the community. I just grew my Instagram page. I kept posting, I kept being active, but what that led to was this big community. At the time, it was around 40 to 50,000 followers on Instagram, which is a lot of people. But then I didn't know how to make money from it. So I'm like, okay, well, how can I make money from growing this audience? So then I had to go back, learn the business stuff, and then capture all those people in, right? But if you start with learning the business stuff first, it's just more of a sound plan. That's all.
Yeah, I think it's very easy to get caught up with the idea of becoming insta famous and going all viral and whatnot. And everybody wants to do it, especially in the fitness space. But that's exactly to your point why it's so saturated is because it's easy to go and just post videos of you working out or post things that you do. And especially if you're fit, it's like people are going to look at you, oh, I trust this guy. But to your point, I've talked to a lot of influencers that are going, I don't know how to monetize this. So
There we
you need
go.
the business model in place first,
And
for
and
sure.
then Nathan, let me add to that. What's going to happen next is that you get into this rat race of always posting because you think you posting content and you being the influencer is business work. You think you doing that is money generating activities, which in fact is not.
Exactly. So, natural segue then. We build the connection, we build the trust.
Mhm.
What comes next?
Well, then you make sales, right? Like then you offer your program to people that like, know, and trust you. And then that's
Hmm.
an easy sell after that, right? Because you want to lead with trust, point blank, period. Especially in a world where everybody is, not everybody is umbrella statement, but it's fake, things aren't real. So you actually want to be and present yourself as more trustworthy on social media above anything else because that's your reputation and that's your brand. I think people are getting from the idea that online is a different world than the real world, but I think now it's actually coming a little bit close together. I used to live in Orange County, California, and there's a lot of wealthy people there. I used to train a lot of wealthy people in my personal training business. And one thing I'll never forget is one of my clients, his name is Jake. He was like, man, just make sure you keep your reputation very clean because this is a small city, right? It's a small town and word gets around, right? And so that stuck with me because he's a multimillionaire, right? And he has a clean reputation, always done things by the books, hard worker, etc. I'm like, okay, let me adopt this mentality and apply it to my online business as well. Because that way, from the start, people see that it's very transparent. Here's what you're gonna get. Here's me. And that allows me to be different from the copy and paste world that's going on right now. Leading with transparency and leading from the authentic side of just being myself, right? I'm not trying to do anything woo woo or anything like that. I'm just simply being myself, being authentic and being just me. That leads to more growth and more sales because people get to know me. And at the beginning of this conversation, I said it's the vibe that you put out, the verbal and nonverbal, and that's what people get to feel.
Hmm. Well, the beauty of online, man, is that you're going to find your tribe. Like you said, your vibe leads to your tribe. And for the first time ever, we can now project an image of ourselves to more people that connect with that message, that whatever vision you have for fitness, the way that you do it. We're
Yeah,
now
Nathan,
able to get
social
in front of
media,
them.
I'm sorry to cut you off, but I just got this. Social media is a megaphone, right? It's
Hmm.
just a megaphone. right? And you can just reach a louder audience, a wider audience if you just use the megaphone and if you learn how to play the game.
Hmm.
That's it.
All right. So build the business model first, then you start to use the megaphone, reach more people.
Yep.
So
And you see what we
transitioning
just did
then.
there?
Hmm.
I'm so sorry, bro.
No, you're good, man. Keep going. Keep going.
I just like to get into it. But you see
Yeah.
what we did there is we learned the business foundations first, and then we start marketing the business. Why?
Right.
Because once we start marketing, we can now get people in the business and everything can run smooth.
Right. Yeah, you need your systems in place for sure.
Boom.
Yeah, I've learned that the hard way. I tried going opposite, and I also have just run into kind of a bottleneck because I didn't
Yeah.
have the system built to onboard people and make sure that they're getting a consistent experience.
Me
So,
too. That's why I'm passionate about that because I don't want any other trainer or
mhm,
coach. You've experienced it, so you already know what kind of pain that is.
yeah,
Having this audience that you could monetize, but you don't know how to, right? And you feel
right.
frustrated with yourself.
So maybe this is a good segue to something like a Facebook group or some
Mhm.
sort of email list. Like, there's a few ways that you can keep people engaged with you before they make a sale or before they decide to purchase something. So
Mhm.
I'm curious what your thoughts are on that. Like, what is the preferred way to continue to build that trust in that community before a sale?
Yeah, well, I would say just continue to show up and be consistent with that. Doesn't matter if it's a Facebook group, it doesn't matter if it's an email, it doesn't matter if it's Instagram. Just continue to be consistent and show up because how can anybody trust you if you're inconsistent?
Hmm, you can't.
They can't get consistent results, but yet they're going to find a coach that's inconsistent, right?
Fair.
So I would say continue to show up and be consistent, and also going one layer deeper or wider, if you use all those tools together, that can also help you. So use Instagram, use the email list, use the Facebook. And how I would do this is I would take my Instagram posts and send that out as the email.
Hmm,
Right? You're not doing more work, you're doing more streamlined work.
right. So is that something that you teach your coaches? Like, what would be, I guess, the growth strategy for you leveraging a community specifically, since that's the topic today? How do
Yeah.
you use the community to grow?
Yes, 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 yes. So it depends, right? Once again, it depends on where you're at because all coaches are different. Would you like to go from the perspective of you starting new, or would you like to go from the perspective of you already have a following and now you're trying to grow it even more?
Probably new, because I think for a lot of coaches, it is new, right? I mean, unless you already had some sort of following during COVID, I
Yeah,
don't think it's as common to have the influencers. It's most people that are looking here are relatively new to online.
yeah. Well, I would say if it's new, then once again, the community stems from the leader being present, right? So community is the connection. And if you're new, once again, you don't have anybody to connect with. So
Mm,
you need to continue to put yourself out there so you can attract people to connect with,
mm,
right? And ultimately, you have to actually, this leads to the question, why would anybody want to follow you if you're putting out content, right? And the answer is because you can help them. You can coach them. You can guide them through the journey. Because if you're new and you're an online fitness coach, you probably have an experience that led you from this point to this point. You don't have to be the top person in the world, right? You don't have to be the science major or do have a million followers. All you have to do is guide people through an experience that you've already achieved, whatever that may be, right?
mhm.
So I would say guide people through that, post that on social media, and talk about how you felt when you first started. The reason for this is because you want to talk to the client that's currently going through the same thing at the moment. So if you are a coach and your biggest challenge was getting back on track on the weekends after a weekend of fun, right? And you've always talked about that experience and you documented and showcased how you get back on track, then guess what? People will now see you as the authority because you documented your experience. You have experience with getting back on track and you're showing the process then and there, right? And if you do it in your own unique way, then people will start trusting you a little bit more. And that trust will lead to people getting into your DMs. Hey, I liked that post you just made. Hey, I liked when you shared the behind the scenes of you prepping your food to get back on track for the week. I've been trying to prep my food and I've had such a big challenge with that, right? So now that person's in your store. Make a sale.
Hmm. Yeah, to your point, man, I heard Alex Hormozy talk about this, just building authority and really having done the thing that you're talking about or having actually gone through the experience is such a crucial step. It's
Yeah.
like people don't care if you're working out. It's like anyone can work out. They care if you've gone through challenges and you've proven that you know how to overcome that challenge and you want to share that and help people actually succeed with something that they're struggling with. That's when they're going to pick up on the fact that you're genuine, that you have a sense of knowledge that maybe they don't, and then you can build that trust with somebody you otherwise wouldn't have ever come in front of at any other point.
Yeah.
So,
And one more thing to that, Nathan, is that the challenge doesn't have to be big, right? The
mm,
challenge can be small. I actually just got a really good DM because I was doing a Q&A on my DMs, me being social on social media, right? So doing a QA on my DMs, and someone asked me, how can I be a shy girl and sell fitness programs, right? I'm like, that's a very interesting topic. Well, if you're shy and you're in fitness, I want you to think about where you first started, right? You're very shy, right? You were so shy that you didn't even go to the gym, right? You were so shy that you didn't know how to eat your food or do all the things that's required to become successful with the fitness journey, right? But you did it, right? And now you're the person that's in the gym. Imagine if you're a coach, a shy coach, right? Now you're the shy coach in the gym, and now you're working out. All you have to do is give advice to other shy people and market to shy people about how to get started. You need to talk to your audience, right? So once again, you don't have to be the world's famous scientist in exercise science or whatever it is, right? Just coach people through your own personal experience, whatever that may be to you,
yeah.
because you're an expert. You did it.
Someone said that to me that I met through Trainerize was that it's easiest to coach yourself, coach other people who are very similar to you because you know how to train you. So the problems you're
Bro,
dealing with, somebody
absolutely.
else is dealing with. Yeah.
1000%. And then that also makes the work easier because you already know how to do it, right? You're not thinking about, oh, I need to learn more about X, Y, and Z. You've already done it,
Hmm.
right? So
Right.
you're working with people that are attracted to your experience.
Right. So I'm curious about something you said there. You talked about a Q&A. That sounds like one example of building a community and actually interacting with the community. Do you have
Mhm.
any other strategies around like actively engaging with the people that already trust you? Like, is there events, that type of thing?
Events or that type of thing. Well, here's the thing. What I suggest for if anybody has a following already, then you need to be giving out freebies and you need to also be doing challenges for your business for growth. And these are just lead magnet strategies. And if you're not familiar with the term lead magnet, it's exactly what it sounds like. It's a magnet for leads. And ideally, this can be a free guide on the 5 steps to get back on track after a weekend of fun, right? If I promoted that on my stories or on my Instagram, and I'm trying to attract other people who have the same exact problem, I would create a free guide, right? Market that for free, give it away for free in exchange for a conversation in the DM. I would tell people to join the challenge. It's free in exchange for them to join the challenge so I can have a conversation with them, right? Because if they're in the challenge, that's them raising their hand that they have a fitness journey problem or they need some help or they want to learn a new experience with your challenge. So that's an opportunity for the fitness coach to make a sale.
Hmm. Got you. So in other words, provide free value and then use that as an opportunity to progress them along to continue to grow.
Yes, and anytime you post on social media is free value.
Yep. It
It's
should
free.
be.
It should be,
Yeah.
right? It should be free value. And it shouldn't always be selling, selling, selling. Add sprinkle in some lifestyle. Nathan, do you know why you should be sprinkling lifestyle into your posts and your content?
Connection. Helps me learn a little bit about you.
Boom. If I see Nathan hanging out with his dog on the weekend or going on a date night and having a glass of red wine with his hot girl or whatever it is, right? I get to see Nathan having fun and I get to see that life could be like that too. I don't always have to stick to my plan. I can go out and have a drink and be balanced as well, right? And so if you're a fitness coach, you are the fitness model for your business. You should be showcasing the daily life of you living a healthy, fit, fun lifestyle. And that should be attractive and that would motivate people to want to have that kind of lifestyle or something similar.
Mhm. Yeah, well said, man. So, closing out a couple more questions here. We're thinking about, we've obviously gone through what an ideal state looks like, but have you dealt with any challenges in growing your community and how have you addressed them or how would you recommend people address them?
Yeah, dude. I would say one of the biggest challenges I've had in my business growth and career with being a fitness coach has been imposter syndrome. And that's a huge challenge because it really struck my ego, right? And I'm at the point now where I have a good balance with my ego. So I just look at it from a different perspective now, right? But what I found out is that when clients didn't do their check-ins, when clients ate off track of their meal plan, when clients didn't show up to their workouts, I actually took that personal as if I was a bad coach. The client not doing what the client is supposed to do doesn't reflect me and my coaching abilities. My job isn't to force the client to eat the food. My job is to create the plan for the client, to hold space for the client, and to keep the client accountable to the plan, right? So anytime the client goes off, right, my job is to guide them back in, rail them back in to the plan. Anytime you go off, come on, come on, come on, come back to the plan. Prepare for the next day. Get back on track. It's okay. Tomorrow's a new day, right? But I took it personally when clients didn't stay on track or hit their macros or do whatever. I felt like I was a bad coach. And I was like, shit, is this for me? Like, do I even, because no one's getting results, right? And it was like when I first got started, no one's really getting results. They're not sticking to the plan. How can I do more to get them to stick with it? Right. And the truth is, you don't necessarily need to do more. You just need to hold space for the client because the client is also in a different world. You don't know what that client's going through. That client could have had family issues. They could have had girlfriend, boyfriend issues. They could have had mental health issues, work issues. The list goes on and on and on. Right. So instead of you trying to force a client to stick to a plan, you have a conversation with the client and hold space for the client. How are you? How was this week? How can I help you? Right? What can you do? Right? If you have to choose one goal, doesn't matter what it is, what would that goal be for next week? And how can we hold you accountable to that? Right? And when you come from that perspective, the client now feels like you're there for them, right? Not they're there for you so you can get the result. You're there for them, helping them learn and get over their challenges so that they can really understand how the fitness journey works. It's always going to be you getting off track and you coming back on track. That never ends. Life never ends. There's always going to be random stuff. There's going to be crazy things like COVID that comes up. There's going to be crazy things like whatever that comes up. Your job is to help them get back on track. Get back on track. Change the plan. Get back on track.
Hmm. Well, and to your point, man, it doesn't even need to just be you anymore. It's with the community. Other people will see them, and that's kind of, I think, the accountability piece becomes a lot easier when you have other people that are looking out for you and encouraging you, and you see other people overcoming things. I
Yeah.
think that's probably the greatest tool in a coach's toolbox for building community is just sharing the success stories or even the challenges that other people are going through and
Yeah.
making it more relatable. Because then it's not just you trying to continually say, hey, this is what I did. It's like, no, I
Yeah.
have other people who've gone through the same thing and we've worked together to make
Yeah.
this happen.
And you know, the cool thing about that is that when you do have a community and you see other people off track or other members in the community sees other people off track, they start to miss them, right? They start, hey, I haven't seen so-and-so in a while. right? And that's when you know you've really done it. Like you really have a community, right? Because people go missing. You're like, where's that person at? How are they doing? I hope they're well. Let me reach out to them personally, right? Now, other members in the group are holding other members in the group accountable. That's what you want.
Precisely. Yeah. Where's Susan? Why isn't she doing her kettlebell swings?
Susan, get off the couch. Stop eating potato chips.
Damn, Susan.
Right?
Right on, man. So I think that's good for our main section here.
Okay.
So I'd love to close this out with a little bit more of an informal approach. And being that you've been in the industry for a while, both building connection comes naturally to you, but also sharing some of your wisdom now that you've been in the game for a long time, I think
Yeah.
is going to be helpful for some of the people watching at home. So I'm sure you've heard of rapid fire before. You know, it's not going to be quite like speed dating, but it's going to be quick like speed
All
dating.
right.
So we're going to get to know each other pretty well here over the next couple minutes. I have a few questions lined up, and if you can try to keep the answer under a minute, that's perfect.
All right.
So let's start with the easiest ones here. What is your favorite exercise and why?
Favorite exercise. I actually just got into boxing. So I've been like, my exercise now is boxing for cardio, and I love it. It's so much fun. But if you're looking for a physical, like in the gym exercise, I would say I'll be a bro bench. I'll be a super bro and say incline bench.
Gotta hit the upper. Let's go.
Right? I didn't get this chest for nothing, bro.
I gotta work on this. Yeah.
That's funny.
Oh man. So then, as far as the exercise you hate the most, let's flip it.
Easy. Single leg Bulgarian
Yeah.
split squat. I'm sure, no, don't even put that in my plan. I mean, I have it in my plan, but it sucks every time, and I just force myself to do it every time.
I was gonna say I had a feeling that would be it because it's
Yeah,
also my least favorite.
for sure. For sure. Also, pull ups, too. I don't like pull ups. They're so good
Yeah.
for you. I just don't like them.
Yeah. It's just like that slow burn. Ugh.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, man. So let's take it a little more inspirational here. So who would be somebody you look up to? Like who's a hero in your life?
All right. I hope this doesn't sound too egoic. Once again, I told you I got my ego in check, right? But it would be my future self, right? And my future self is so proud of me right now. And I look up to my future self right now because he's calm, he's rich, he's helping people, he's successful, and he's a man, right? And I look up to that guy, and he's very proud of himself and proud of me where I'm currently at right now. So I like to just only look inside of myself for self gratification.
Mhm.
But outside of that, I love watching anime. And so I would say
Cool.
Deku from My Hero Academia. Is
Yeah.
a great, great person to admire just from the personality and
Yeah.
not being born with any powers, right? Any
Cool.
quirks. So, yeah.
Yeah. Cool, man. That's an interesting twist. I like that. Yeah, I'm a big anime fan growing up, like Naruto, that type of
Yeah.
thing. I love that, man.
Yeah.
But yeah, to your point, it sounds like you're coming from a place of self-acceptance and self-love and it's kind of just gratitude for who you are now and who you will become. And I think that's a really powerful place to come from when you're
Yeah.
able to have that positive internal state and like dialogue with yourself. So good for you, man.
Hey,
I like
Nathan.
that.
Nathan, can I just like spend 10 seconds talking about this, please? Because it's really
Yeah,
important for
sure.
people who are listening to this.
Of course.
I've read a ton of self help books, I've done a ton of therapy, I've done a lot of different things, right? And what I found personally for me is at the end of it all we want is to be proud of ourselves at the end of the day, right? So, whatever that looks like for you, try and figure out how to be proud of yourself on a daily basis so you can stack some wins up. And that's going to help build your confidence and your self esteem to take action to do whatever you want to do, right? So be proud of yourself and always think inside of yourself first, right? Don't look outside of yourself for the answers.
Hmm. Yeah, that's really helpful, man. I like that. It and also helps combat the imposter syndrome, I've found, when you're able to be your own best friend first and be your own biggest supporter.
Yeah, I
It kind
have
of
a ton of,
quells.
I have so much I can give you on imposter syndrome, but maybe that'll be for a different
Yeah.
conversation. Yeah.
Fair enough. That's good, man. Good for you. So I guess on the business side, I'm curious, what's a business choice in the last 5 years that's had the biggest impact on both your business or your life, whichever way you want to take it?
I would say being in the position to help fitness coaches now grow and scale their business, because I struggled so much when I was a fitness coach trying to learn everything by myself. And, I brought up ego a lot throughout this conversation because I had such a big one. And I wanted to get to the point where I did it on my own. I didn't need help, right? And I was like, if I'm going to become a fitness coach and I'm trying to help other people get into great shape, what if they had that attitude of, I don't need anybody's help. I'm okay. I can do it. There's all this free content, right? And I actually started to attract clients like that, and it wasn't a good fit, right? So once I realized that I myself needed help and I needed to go to somebody else that could be better than me, right? I need to leave whatever my ego was at the door and just like get help, right? That's when things started to change. That's when my clients' results started to increase like crazy. I started to increase my results like crazy. And now I get to help other coaches take their business to the next level, all because I decided that, hey, I personally needed help with my fitness business, and I'm going to go seek out mentorship for myself and get the help, because I went broke trying to do it on my own. And I failed over and over and over. But the moment I got a mentor, that was the moment I had success, literally, because I stopped doing the wrong things and started doing only the right things. And all it is inputs and outputs. You put the right inputs in, you'll get the right outputs. That's it.
Mm. Yeah, we're not meant to do things alone. If COVID's taught us anything, it's like being in isolation is probably the biggest detriment to being a human. So
Yeah.
learning to lean on other people, especially as givers, as coaches. I mean, we give so much of ourselves to other people. The moment you recognize that it's okay to lean on other people and ask for help yourself as a coach, I think is
It makes you a
very,
better coach. It makes
yeah.
you a better person. You get to, and it's hacking the system, right? Because now you're hacking knowledge from somebody else.
Hmm. Yeah, man, absolutely. I've heard this before. It's like there's millions of other people who've made the same mistakes that you're about to make. So don't be one of them. Lean on
Yeah,
them.
exactly. Lean on them. Yeah, that's a great way
Hmm.
to put it, Nathan.
Cool. Well, on the other side, all along those lines, is there any mistake that has kind of marred you in the last few years that you can think of that might be a precautionary tale for people that are listening? I know I'm putting you on the spot with this one, so if nothing comes to mind, that's okay.
No, don't join an MLM. That will be my first thing, right? And and here's the thing: I learned from experience because I did it, right? Because
Wow.
I've and there was many of them that I did because I
Yeah.
really wanted success. And instead of building that kind of business, learn how to build a business of your own. So it was one of the worst decisions because I learned so much through the experience. And there was a lot of time that I could have been focusing on my business when I was doing something else, right? But through that experience, I did learn, right? I learned different ways of marketing, different ways of sales, different ways of management. And I took that experience and applied it to my fitness business. But the overall big picture is don't get distracted. Focus, keep the main thing, and that's your fitness business, right?
Mm.
Don't focus on the sponsorships. Don't focus on the brands, because the brands and the sponsorships and the MLMs and the commissions that you get from Gymshark, that will never pay you as much as your business will. So focus on your business. Keep the main thing the main thing.
Yeah, the more agency you have in a business, the more likely you are to invest time and purposeful effort into it. And I found similarly when I worked for a different company that was much larger, it was harder to get motivated to stay on track, and nor did it align with my goals. So,
Yeah.
as much as it's a roller coaster being an entrepreneur and it's tough sometimes, the payout and the benefit of investing in yourself and investing in your business is always going to be tenfold of working for someone else. So,
Yeah.
not to say
Absolutely.
it's for everyone, but it is, in my opinion, the best thing we can do.
And these are all my personal beliefs too. And you don't have
Yeah,
to adopt them for anybody listening.
for sure. So talk to me about on the more of the, I guess, wisdom side or learning side. Is there a book that you're reading right now or recently that really inspired you?
um, Man, I've read a ton of books, but I come back to a small few that I just read on repeat. My favorite book my most recent book that I'll read maybe once a month would be As a Man Thinketh by James Allen.
Cool. I don't know, man. So I guess as a final thought here, and we'll keep this one short, if you could fit one message into a billboard that millions of people around the world are going to see, can you think of anything that would be a very succinct statement that you'd want to poster there?
There's a quote inside the book, and I would actually have this quote on a billboard, and it says, "Until thought is linked with purpose, there is no intelligent accomplishment."
Mm, I really like that.
And I'll say that again because I kind of muddled
Yeah,
my words. Until thought is linked with purpose, there is no intelligent accomplishment. Right?
very good.
And so
So,
that gives you some purpose to think about, right? So you can be doing a lot of crazy things in the world, but until your thoughts are linked with the purpose, there's no intellect behind it. There's no intelligent accomplishment behind it.
hmm. Well, I think it comes back to what we just talked about, right? Like once you've chosen to invest in something that you truly believe in and you feel like there's a purpose there, all the other stuff kind of just fades off to the side. Like it's not really valuable
Yeah,
in what is a very short life
yeah,
in
yeah.
my so
I agree.
very cool. I don't know, man. So I guess as a final thought, any other parting thoughts for the audience that you think would be helpful or for their career? Anything you want to share? Or
Parting thoughts. If I could give somebody advice or anything like that,
okay,
I would say just keep showing up. Keep showing up. Commit to the process. Be here a year from now. So what I mean by that is continue to be on the journey a year from now. Give yourself a full year to be on this journey. Don't think 6 months is going to get me to the Bahamas and, hundreds of $1,000s in my bank account, right? Be on the journey, commit to the journey, and have fun on the journey because the journey is the one thing that you want to be doing. That's it. You want to be an online coach. You want to be getting into the DMs. You want to be posting content. You want to get on calls and close deals. You want to be doing all this. So have fun in the things that you actually want and quote unquote need to do.
hmm, fall in love with the process, in
Yeah.
other words, and
Yeah.
give it the time it deserves to actually
Yeah.
see it through.
Yeah, absolutely. For sure.
Hmm. Love that. Fantastic, brother. Well, thank you again, man, for taking some time out of your busy schedule. We really, really appreciate it here. Before we go, where can people find you online to be able to contact you?
Yes. You can reach my personal page at Approved by Brooks, or you can reach our company's page, Fit Boss Blueprint, or go to fitbossblueprint.com.
Right on. Awesome, man. So again, thank you guys at home for taking the time out of your busy schedules. And if you found this helpful, we hope that you'll comment or share with a friend who could also benefit from it. With much love from the team here at ABC Trainerize, take care.